What are you doing?
Hey, man. Welcome to Cheap Pops, Chico. I'm Nick.
I'm Dave, and he's still weird.
I'm the bad guy.
Yeah, you sure are. Oh, and the blue meanie fell over. Well, he's staying there.
Oh, damn.
Or you can grab him, whatever you want to do. No,
That's
great.
great.
He's down for the good.
Oh, did JBL beat him up again?
He might have. I don't know.
Oh, damn. Well, that's okay. The big Stevie Ray can hit him with the fucking chair again.
You mean Stevie Richards?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Welcome to Cheap Pops. We talk mainly wrestling, but we also discuss movies. We're not going to talk about Critters, but I just bought this and I thought it was really cool, so I put it on the table. So,
and we're not going to talk about Call of Duty, but this is freaking sick.
Yeah, and we do talk about video games, and we talk about movies. Speaking of that, I went and saw Thunderbolts, and I thought it was really good.
Ooh.
If that's an indication of what the MCU is going to be from now on, I'm all for it. I think they did a really good job on it. So I'm not going to give any spoilers because some people just haven't seen it yet. So.
And before we get way into the show, I want to pay tribute to Sabu.
Sabu passed away the other day. Yeah, it sucks. He just had his last match a couple of weeks ago over WrestleMania weekend. They haven't released how it happened, but it sucks. I mean, he was 60. For a guy like that beat up his body as much as he did, I can't say I'm surprised. I mean, I don't want to sound bad, but I'm surprised a lot of the ECW guys aren't gone with what they did to themselves with drugs and the way they wrestled. So, Sabu should have made millions of dollars, for the innovator that he was and what he did for the wrestling business.
Absolutely. I
mean, when you think of ECW, yeah, you think of Sandman and Rob Van Dam and Taz, but if Sabu isn't one of the first guys you think of,
then
you
weren't
really a fan of ECW, in my opinion, because he was. I think the first time I ever saw Sabu was I rented the Halloween Havoc 1995 video, and he wrestled Mr. JL, also known as Jerry Lynn, under a mask, which was stupid. But they had a really good match, and I think that was one of the last times Sabu was in WCW. He was only there for like a month. But then I knew about ECW after that, so.
I think my first match and my favorite match was the barbed wire death match.
Oh, the one with Terry Funk?
Yes.
Yeah, Born to be Wired, yeah. To see him tear open his bicep and all that stuff, and it just... I think my favorite would have to be him and Rob Van Dam tagging up against Hayabusa and Jinsei Shinzaki. But, I mean, it's really hard to pick a favorite.
It really is.
I mean, he had some good ones with Just Incredible. I mean, anything with Taz was really, really good, so...
Low-key won the television title match where they went to a draw with Two Cold Scorpio.
Yep. Even the stuff he did in TNA with Abyss, like Barbed Wire Massacre and stuff like that, was really good in my opinion. And WWE, the match he had with Cena, but they weren't going to let him be him in WWE, so, I mean, it sucks that... I'm glad he had a last match, so that's cool, and we do want to watch it, the one with Joey Janela, but, at some point we'll see it and we'll talk about it. So rest in peace, Sabu, another legend gone way too early. We do have a lot to talk about. First up, did you watch any of Backlash?
Yes, I did.
Okay, it happened on May 10th. The first match was a fatal four-way for the U.S. title. LA Knight, Drew McIntyre, Damian Priest, and Jacob Fatu. Fatu coming in as the champion. I think all four looked very impressive. I think this is the best Priest has looked in a while.
Yes.
I think ever since he's been out of the Judgment Day, he's kind of been floundering. He doesn't really... He still dresses like he did then. He's still wearing the black and the purple. To me, he needs something different.
Yes.
To separate himself from that. Because when I look at him, all I think of him in the Judgment Day. Like, there's no...
The only thing I can think of is what Rhea Ripley called him, the bisexual Undertaker.
But my thing is that... It's kind of like Roman Reigns never changed from the Shield.
Yes.
The music and everything until he got with Heyman and became the tribal chief. So I think he's due. I mean, he's a good wrestler. I mean, I met him when he was Punishment Martinez for Ring of Honor. He's got talent. He's not clicking right now. And I don't know what they've got to do to have that work, but I think they need to change something. The crowd was hot for LA Knight. I'm glad they didn't wait too long to pull the trigger on him. I mean, I would have liked to have seen him been a world champ, not just a U.S. champ, but at least they gave him something so the crowd didn't lose faith in him. You know, they all hit their finishers. Damian Priest did a South of Heaven through tables. Solo Sikoa stopped LA Knight's pin at one point, and Jeff Cobb debuted and attacked LA Knight, which was really cool. Fatu didn't look happy, but took advantage of it and retained the title.
Yeah, he was pissed on SmackDown.
I think that you're going to see Solo, the Tongas, and Jeff Cobb be the new bloodline. And
Jacob Fatu go on.
Because the crowd loves him already, and they're already sowing the seeds of doubt where he grabbed the microphone from Solo and cut his own promo on SmackDown. So you can't deny what Jacob Fatu is. When the crowd gets behind him, he's going to be the biggest babyface. Kind of like Braun Breaker is turning into one of the bigger heels now.
Yes.
You can't deny the talent anymore. And this is the first chance people are getting to see Jacob Fatu. And if you ever watched MLW, you knew what he could do. But for him to be able to do it on a national stage is great.
And like you said, he was a lot bigger back then.
Yeah, he was. He's leaned out. I think he spent a lot of time at the PC before he made it to, I mean, he was in NXT, but they have the conditioning programs and stuff down there, so I think that's going to help him in the long run with his knees and all that stuff, so I think it can only help him. The Women's Intercontinental title, Lyra Valkyria versus Becky Lynch. A lot of people don't like Lyra Valkyria, and I don't get it. I think she's really good.
She is good. What the fuck?
And I think the crowd is into her. As much as people say that they're not, they do the woo for her entrance when she flaps her arms and stuff. I think that people expect every wrestler to get this huge reaction through their entire match, and it's not going to happen.
No.
I mean, Penta, the reaction for Penta has kind of died down a little bit. They're not just going to get, holy shit chants and all this stuff all the time. You can't gauge, every second of every match's crowd's reaction to show how popular somebody is. I mean, I haven't seen any merch stuff for her yet, so I can't gauge on that either, but I think she's doing fine, so I don't get that. I thought it was a very good back and forth match. That stalling superplex by Lyra was good. She kicked out of 2 manhandle slams, which that surprised me. And she won with a roll up, and then Becky attacked her after the match. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, I think they're going to do more with this feud.
I do too, and it's a natural feud. They're both Irish, mentor and mentee. It makes sense.
Hell, if this leads to a cell match or at least a cage match,
that would be cool.
Yes.
And I would imagine whoever wins the Women's Money in the Bank will probably go after either their Intercontinental or the World Champ. I don't know.
Or even better, and I quit.
That would be cool. Either that or I don't think they've done a last woman standing in a long time.
No,
I think
they
Becky
haven't.
and Lyra were last woman standing. With how Lyra kept kicking out of the manhandle slams, you've already established that she's not going to give up.
Yes.
So I think a last woman standing would actually fit really. But I like your idea as well. And then for the men's Intercontinental title, Penta against Dirty Dom Mysterio. that suicide dive DDT that Dom did to the floor was amazing. Dom hitting Liv Morgan's finisher Oblivion was pretty cool. Little stuff like that, where he's his girlfriend's off doing a movie. So what does he do? He does her finisher in the match. That's
and we're putting that in quotes.
Yeah, I think that's cool. Balor and Carlito got involved, and El Grande Americano, and he helps Dominic retain.
Yay, El Americano!
Yeah, I don't know where they're going with that, but
if they make an action figure of it, I want it.
With the way Mattel does things, I don't see why they're not going to do an El Grande Americano.
This would be brilliant if they do.
The match that I did not really care for was Pat McAfee against Gunther. I don't like McAfee on commentary. When McAfee wrestled Adam Cole, I thought it was cool. But this, to me, was so much of a mismatch that I just didn't care. And then I love when Michael Cole said it's the first time in his career he's going to be biased.
I know. I'm saying to myself, wait a minute. What?
What about The Miz? What about John Laurinaitis? Anytime he was biased with Mr. McMahon, like he had that coal mine for a while, and he would do nothing but shill for the heels.
Exactly.
Like, this is the first time you're going to be biased. Like, okay,
whatever.
I mean, Gunther toyed with McAfee. He pulled Cole into the ring. Cole grabbed Gunther's leg, but McAfee got choked out. What other outcome did you expect other than that? There's no way McAfee should have beat Gunther. In my opinion, that just, yeah, he gave him a good match and he looked, not like a pushover, but Gunther needs something to build himself back up, and I think that was a good way to do it. I just wish it wasn't McAfee, but whatever. I mean, it accomplished what it needed to accomplish. So, and then the main event, Randy Orton versus John Cena for the WWE title. Stop calling him the greatest of all time. I don't care how many titles he's won. He is not the greatest of all time.
No, he's not.
He's not. I'm sorry. Maybe the greatest WWE star of all time, but he is not the greatest wrestler of all time. That's just stupid. He looks stupid with the socks. I don't know what it is about I don't know if he's getting socks from the Pro Wrestling Crate and just pulling them all up, but he looks dumb, and he's got the pale skin and I don't know what he's doing with his hair now, but he's like matting it down so you can't see the bald spot, which is fine. I mean, I'm going bald in the back, so I don't really care. But
yeah, we're both joining the Hulk Hogan hair club here, people.
Right, but I do like Cena doing like the little tricks, like doing an eye poke and stuff like that. If you're gonna be a heel and do that, be a full-on heel. I do like that. I loved when he tried to do the AA and Randy Orton turned it into an RKO. That was really cool. Of course, a ref bump. Orton hit an AA on Cena onto the table. I thought it was a good story with the ref bumps because they don't do that all the time, which is good. I mean, AEW does it a lot, but I'm not throwing shade on AEW,
but they did a decent amount of ref bumps.
Right, and they did a lot of RKOs. Like Orton was hitting him with a lot of RKOs, and there was never a ref there, or it just.
Then he went fucking absolute ape shit on everybody.
Oh yeah, he RKO'd Aldis and the officials, and then he was going to punt Cena, and R-Truth ran in and stopped it, which is where they're going for Saturday night's main event. It's going to be John Cena against R-Truth.
If they get a title match out of those two, I'm hoping they pull the trigger on R-Truth.
Dude, it would be so cool. I mean,
yes.
But Cena got an RKO, but then he used a low blow and used the title belt to retain, so he's still champ. But like you said, if they pull the trigger and R-Truth beats John Cena on Saturday night's main event, even if he just holds it till Monday and Cena wins it back and becomes an 18-time champion, the buzz that you're going to get with R-Truth being a world champion, and he was an 2-time NWA champion. You can talk about that. You've been talking about every other promotion, and Natalya has wrestled for NWA recently, and I think she's going to again, so there's no reason not to mention the NWA.
Exactly.
It makes perfect sense. And you can say that R-Truth doesn't deserve it, but to me, he's a guy like William Regal. He's one of the MVPs of that company, and he deserves anything he gets, in my opinion. So I say pull the trigger. It'll be unexpected, and I think the crowd would go nuts. Just think of Jesse Ventura commentating that, and have him say, I can see it happening, and then it actually happens. I think that would be awesome. We got to get into grab your sign, because good lord.
Da, 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 da.
It's time for Nick's picks, and man, did you pick an interesting one. What did you pick?
It was a train wreck of a fucking pay-per-view. Mm-hmm. And I think it was the only one that the revamp ECW did.
Yeah, that's true. It is the only standalone, because,
December to Dismember.
From December of 2006. Great video opening to the show, but it was a shit show.
It was.
I mean, this was pretty much, you had an episode of the new ECW and you called it a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
You started out with Eminem against the Hardys, which, good match. I think it went on way too long.
Right.
But it was a good match, and the Hardys won. And then you do Matt Striker against Balls Mahoney. In what world is that a pay-per-view in any time? How is that a pay-per-view match?
It's not.
Taz's commentary was great, though. He kept busting on Matt Striker having a picture of his own face on his ass. That was pretty funny. Striker worked on Balls' arm through the whole match, but Balls Mahoney ended up getting the win, which I'm not surprised. You know, it's pay-per-view. You're going to put Balls Mahoney over Matt Striker, but... And then they showed Sabu laid out in the backstage area. I believe this is at the point where him and Van Dam had gotten arrested, or it was close to that time where he had gotten arrested for marijuana.
Yep.
And so this was to take him out of the Elimination Chamber match.
And I think he left soon after, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was pretty close, yeah. And then they did a tag match with Sylvester Terkay and Elijah Burke, who became the Pope D'Angelo Gennaro in TNA and in NWA for a while, against the FBI. They pretty much dominated the FBI through the whole match, you know. And Terkay did a muscle buster on Guido after the match, so...
No, not little Guido.
Yeah, it was just it was there.
Yeah.
That's what I can say about this whole pay-per-view. It was there.
Yeah.
It was there. It's, you know, Great Khali and Daivari come out and... what?
I want to say something about this match.
Okay.
Now, the original one that was supposed to win this match was Tommy Dreamer going into the building and everything right until the last minute.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was pretty much Tommy Dreamer against Daivari, and Great Khali got ejected. I wrote the crowd just does not care about this show. The crowd they didn't care. It was dumb. Daivari hooked the trunks to get the win, and then Dreamer, you know, followed him up the ramp, and Khali came out and gave him the huge, you know, big choke slam onto the steel ramp. So you decimated Tommy Dreamer at the end. You weren't going to work a program with the Great Khali and Tommy Dreamer, so that I didn't understand that either. Mike Knox and Kelly against Kevin Thorne and Ariel. Kelly wished CM Punk good luck in the chamber, which was kind of funny.
Right.
Knox pretty much set up Kelly. He short-armed her when she went for the tag, and Ariel pinned her, and then the Sandman came out and helped out Kelly after the match. Again, it was there. It furthered the storyline with Kelly and Mike Knox, but to me, I don't really want my pay-per-views doing that. I don't want them furthering a storyline that I'm just going to see on regular TV. Like, right. I kind of want definitive stuff to happen, you know, but, and then we're right at the main event already. The Extreme Elimination Chamber, Big Show, Test, Rob Van Dam, Hardcore Holly, who was replacing Sabu, CM Punk, and Bobby Lashley.
Now, who's originally supposed to win this match was supposed to be CM Punk.
That's what Paul Heyman wanted.
Yeah.
You know, and there was a weapon in each pod.
And Vince was adamant. And this is what wound up Paul Heyman being fired for how many years?
It was a long time. It was a few, anyways. Rob Van Dam and Hardcore Holly started out.
I think it was until Brock Lesnar came back in, 2012 or 2014?
Yeah, it might have been, yeah. Yeah.
I think it was 2012 he came back.
Yep. CM Punk was released first out of the pod. Test was number 2. He had a crowbar with him. I think Punk had the steel chair. Punk was eliminated first with a frog splash, so that's a slap in the face to Paul Heyman. The guy that he wanted to win gets eliminated first.
Yep.
Test eliminated RVD off an elbow drop off the top of the pod with the steel chair on Van Dam's head. That was gnarly looking, and I can't imagine a guy as huge as Test coming down on my head off the top of one of those pods, but the crowd was chanting bullshit because if Punk wasn't going to win, they certainly wanted Rob Van Dam to win.
Right.
They were chanting TNA. They were chanting, "Where's my refund?" Because the crowd was pissed. They didn't want any of that.
Nope.
You know,
and Paul was right on who should have won the match.
I do too. I don't think he should have tapped out the Big Show.
Right.
That I didn't agree with, but I do agree that CM Punk should have won. Lashley had a table in his pod, and Test kept him locked in the pod. He grabbed the table and rammed the chains on the top of his pod to get out of his pod. I thought that was an awesome way to use the weapons. I thought that was really cool. Lashley eliminated Test. Came down to Big Show and Lashley. Lashley won the ECW title with a spear. So the crowd was like, and it was only like, 2 hours and 10 minutes?
Yeah.
So it ended really early, and it wasn't good in my opinion.
I would have wanted my refund too.
Yeah, me too. Before I get into what we did this weekend, I kind of wanted to show a couple things. I did this last time.
Ooh.
A few VHSs that I found out of my collection. Fall Brawl War Games 1996 with the NWO against the Four Horsemen. This one was really cool.
This was the one where it was Lex Luger and Sting replacing two of them, wasn't it? Or
yep. Yeah, and this is where the Sting impersonator was with the NWO. And Sting came out and beat up the entire NWO and then said, "Is that good enough for you?" And then I think it was 2 weeks later where he started being the Crow and all that stuff. So that's a really cool one. I always love having the old school videos. And then this one, WCW fan favorites, Starrcade 97. So the Sting and Hogan match is on here. Bash at the Beach 96, the Outsiders against Luger, Sting, and Macho Man. Halloween Havoc 93, Spin the Wheel, Make the Deal.
Ooh.
With, I think that was Cactus Jack and Vader that year.
Yes.
And then Chi-Town Rumble 89, Ric Flair against Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. How can you go wrong with that tape? That's awesome. This is one of my favorites from when I was a kid. Most unusual matches ever. You know what that is right there? That's the first ladder match in WWF. It wasn't Scott Hall and Razor Ramon and Shawn Michaels. It was Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels from 1992.
And Bret was pissed at that they didn't talk about that this was the very first one.
Right. This has also got the $10,000 match with Razor Ramon and the 1-2-3 Kid, where the Kid pretty much just took the money and ran, which was great. The Four Doinks versus Bam Bam Bigelow and the Head Shrinkers and Bastion Booger from Survivor Series 93. It wasn't Four Doinks. It was the Bushwhackers as Doinks and Men on a Mission as Doinks. So, and then a Lumberjack match from Raw for the Intercontinental title, Hacksaw Jim Duggan against Shawn Michaels. And they had Lumberjacks all around the ring. And then Yokozuna interfered to hit Duggan, and that's how Shawn Michaels retained. But this is from 1994. I love this. Isn't a Coliseum video. They had every once in a while they would have one where it was a different company that produced the video, but I really enjoy this one. This is one of my favorites.
Rick Rude,
Ravishing Rick Rude's WCW video. I believe it's Jesse Ventura. This is from 1993. There wasn't a lot of WCW videos back in 93. So this is really cool. Well, yeah, this one's actually not get any mold on it or anything from the store. So that's cool. And I will talk about something that pertains to this a little bit when we go on our reviews. But I did a full weekend of wrestling shows. And then him brother went with me to the second show of that weekend.
I couldn't go to the Saturday show with you because I had my daughter.
Yeah, so I went by myself. It was a 3-hour drive, back roads of Vermont, just to get to somewhere in Massachusetts. By the time I got home, I had been up over 28 hours because I had worked the night before. So it was an interesting. But I went and saw World of Hurt in Leo, Massachusetts. Now, we've talked about World of Hurt on a bit of a rant on World of Hurt before, but this was a really good show. And we said before, that doesn't mean that we're not going to go to World of Hurt anymore. Just we had one bad experience, and I thought this was a really good show. It was a benefit for, well, I'm sure not all the money went for it, but to benefit Make-A-Wish, and it was at a Boys and Girls Club, so I believe the Boys and Girls Club was there. Tony, from what I understand, the money he made from the show, he donated to Make-A-Wish, and he did pictures in the middle of the ring, and the money that he made from that, donated that as well. So Tony Atlas is a stand-up dude. I'm really happy about that.
And there wasn't very many of them from the 80s like that.
Right. So...
Case in point.
Right. Yeah. So I was talking about Rick. The first match featured one of our favorites, Shockwave the Robot, against Caesar. It's either. He comes out to Rick Rude's 1993 theme, Simply Ravishing. He has the airbrush tights. He's doing the hip swivel. He's doing all the stuff, which is fine. It's an indie. And I doubt most of the people that were at that show recognized that theme music. Because unless you watched WCW in 93 or you owned the Slam album, you had no idea whose music that was. So, I mean, it fit. Shockwave the Robot is so over. If you've never seen Shockwave the Robot, go on YouTube and watch it. It's a great gimmick. I mean, he's a robot, and... You know, he does a comeback by, typing into a keyboard on his arm. It's really cool. Thought it was a very entertaining match. Shockwave's comeback is great. When he doesn't hulk up, but he makes motions and like he's a robot. It's really cool. He got the win with a drop, so a good opening match. And then for the new World of Hurt Women's Champion, Selena Hecate versus Livia versus I had never seen any of these women before, but it was a good triple threat, and Livia won with you remember what the Nightmare on Helm Street was?
Oh,
he called it the Eye of the Hurricane.
Yes.
And, where it was kind of like a sling blade, but it was just from a standing position. She won with that, so Livia is the new World of Hurt Women's Champion. I didn't take a lot of notes because my battery life was running out on my phone, and I was trying to enjoy the show as well. The World of Hurt title, by the way, the Selena Hecate sold the next night at the show we were at. Same with this man, Johnny Pierce, the World of Hurt champion, with Kenny Casanova against Jermaine Marbury. He was wearing like a basketball jersey and basketball shorts, and very athletic. I really enjoyed it, but he had cool merch, so I always like to support the people that. So, Johnny Pierce had a PWO shirt, Pierce World War. Just the NWO style shirts are it's kind of like when Mickey James and a lot of these ones, even the Briscoes, they did oh my God, I'm trying to think of what it is. The alcohol, holy shit, it's going to bother me that I can't think of Jack Daniels.
Yes.
The Jack Daniels logo. A lot of wrestlers take off of the Jack Daniels logo for a while. That's what God, I can't believe my brain didn't figure that out. And then, so Pierce throws the shirt at him. He wants him to join the PWO. Marbury puts it on and acts like he lays down for him. But, of course, he rolls him up. And I love that the 10 punches in the corner still works. No matter, it worked the next night with Danhausen. These indie shows, certain tropes from old school wrestling still work no matter where you are. I thought it was a good match. Marbury's very athletic.
I said the one move that we haven't seen in a long time, the abdominal stretch.
Yeah, that's true. Casanova distracted the ref, and Pierce used the belt to retain. I wasn't expecting Marbury to win, but it would have been cool if he did. They called this the semi-main event, already not even an hour in. The Music Man and the Slam Burglar, both, by the way,
yes,
versus Doink, which they announced as formerly from WWE. I'm not going to say because I'm not going to throw him under the bus, but it was not the Doink from WWE, any of the Doinks from WWE, but that's neither here nor there. And he was teaming with Tony Atlas. Lots of comedy spots with Doink. I wrote Slamburger and Music Man are great characters. Something in a minute. Even at the beginning of the match, Tony Atlas was dancing to Doink's music, which was just hilarious. If you get a chance to go to a show where Tony Atlas is, take the advantage of it because he is highly entertaining and a really good dude.
I just didn't like what the revamped ECW did with him. With the annoying.
Oh, it was entertaining, but I get what you're saying. Doink got the pin doing the whoopee cushion. It was like, because Doink used to do that off the top rope, he did more like an earthquake splash, as his whoopee cushion, which is fine. But since I mentioned the music, I want to show this. He had a combo where you got a shirt and a hat, an armband, one of the rubber armbands, but it's got his logo, the Music Man.
Nice.
There, we got that. On the back it says "Feel the Music." For $20, you get the shirt and the hat.
That's not bad.
And the rubber. I thought that was really cool. And he had stickers one per person, so I couldn't get you one. But he had stickers. That kind of stuff I really. Some of them do deals, like Mikey Cheese does deals on his merchandise all the time. So
and Mikey Cheese has always been good to us.
Yeah. So I think that's really cool. The Music Man, he comes out with like a little ukulele. He didn't do it at this show. I think it's because they had a hard out to get out of the building. So usually he sings tiptoe through the tulips, but he says tiptoe through the ring ropes. And the crowd boos him, so you can't hear him sing it. So he does it again, which is, they boo even louder, which is awesome. Creative stuff like that, I really love. And
yes.
Yeah, so that's cool. Lex Lozano versus the Beastmaster PPH, who is 8x10 that I got. And I got this because I bought his shirt, which I'm not wearing, but...
you were wearing it at the next show.
Yes, I did. Lex Lozano was at the next show also in Guape Suave. PPH grabbed Lex Lozano on the outside by his arm, pop him in the chest, which was pretty funny. The crooked ref I think he was like a radio DJ, and he was like taking phone calls on his cell phone, while the, PPH was trying to get a cover and stuff like that. So he was a crooked ref, and he was doing slow counts and stuff. Lex Lozano won with a fast count, and then PPH chokeslammed the ref, and it was one of the worst chokeslams you've ever seen, because the guy kind of looked like Vince McMahon trying to take a chokeslam. I had no idea how to do it, but, that's fine. DJ Powers against Mikey Cheese. And I gave you one of these, but he has his autographed photos. These are like AI generated, but it's him as different characters, like, Simpsons and, South Park and all that stuff. It's really cool. Mikey Cheese is really creative and really cool to fans. His gimmick and everything is really cool. He's a really cool dude, and he's a friend of mine, so he wrestled DJ Powers. DJ Powers was a really good. One of the things that Mikey Cheese does that I really like is he does 3 headshots to the turnbuckle, but he'll say 1, 2, and then the crowd says cheese, which is just the crowd interaction for his matches is great. Mikey Cheese won with a snowplow after a missed splash off the top. I don't know if he calls it something different than that's what it looked like to me, so that's what I'm calling it. And then the main event was a cage match. A wrestler named Danger. It was his last match.
You said it was a sketchy ass.
Really sketchy cage, but we've seen it before, and you know exactly the cage I'm talking about. Victor Vanko and Boris with Kenny Casanova against Jeff Starr and Danger. All 4 of these guys, original World of Hurt guys that I remember seeing the first time I ever went to World of Hurt, along with guys like Hoss and Punk and Eric Alden and Kyle Bradley, a lot of these guys. So Danger brought in a trash can with weapons. Danger did an elbow drop with a chain. Point. Jeff Starr put the trash can on top of Boris's head and then did a super kick on it, which was actually pretty cool. Threw powder in Danger's eyes right as he was about to escape the door. But Danger ended up getting a choke slam and then climbed out the door. The stipulation was that both members of the team had a cage to win. So Danger won his last match. But I don't know if it lived up to the hype that I was expecting. I was expecting a little bit more out of the cage match, but, it was still entertaining. It was still a good show. I can't complain about the show because I thought it was really good. But the show that we went to
was really good,
which was in Vermont, Green Mountain Wrestling. This is our first time going to Green Mountain Wrestling, and I have to say, experience. We had we didn't have third row tickets. We had general admission, but we picked seats in the third row. His brother Billy went with us as well, mainly to meet Danhausen.
Yes,
Danhausen. That was really cool. I got my picture with him. I didn't get an autograph, but
his pricing was reasonable.
It was $20 for an autograph, $20 for a picture. He only charged you $20 to sign your action figure, right?
Yes.
See, some of them charge extra to sign action figures instead of just like an 8x10, so that's really cool. And you showed me he did it in red, and it's a clean autograph. He did really well with a paint pen on that.
I got to take a picture of it, send it to you. I wanted to bring it today, but it's like I don't want it to get ruined.
And I'm going to get you a picture for it so you don't have to worry about the autograph coming off. But the opening match, Lost Boys against Guapo Suave. A really good match. I could tell both teams were over from this crowd. They knew these guys. And that's one of the things I like about these small shows is we see people we've never seen before. So you can learn about other wrestlers, and then you go, oh, hey, I saw those guys a couple of months ago in Green Mountain, and they're at a different, a lot of these guys in the Northeast travel every weekend to different areas, and they get their reps in, and it's really cool to see some of these guys. Lost Boys won with a victory roll. It was a good match. What'd you think?
I thought it was a really good match. Really, really good.
Mm-hmm. Good opener. Definitely a good opener.
Then I think we have our comedy match.
No, not yet.
No, not yet.
Had Owen against another Lost Boy, Ethan Promise. And Ethan Promise had been on kind of a losing streak. Well, the streak kept on going. It was a good match. So Ethan Promise and the Lost Boys won. He tapped out to
Three guys were awesome to meet.
They were. The Lost Boys were really cool. I'd like to see more of them. But then, the reason I'm wearing this shirt, the Nation King Crab and Spider Crab, hilarious and highly entertaining, even at their merch table. Against the Colony. And was it Ultra Ant?
Yeah, I think it was Ultra Ant.
I didn't know crabs talk so because those guys did running commentary for each other through the whole match. And it was not over the top. It was entertaining. I loved it. And the ants didn't say a fucking word.
Nope.
So
I love put him in the arm bar and careful, he needs that claw.
Yeah, he was like grabbing on his, he needs those claws. And he did the abdominal stretch and he used they were pinchers and he was, it was like, I love creative stuff like that. Like I wrote, they use their claws a lot. Double Boston crabs, this is so creative. I'm sure Jim Cornette would have a fucking conniption fit if you watched that match.
Yeah,
I thought it was highly entertaining.
Imagine them versus the stepdads.
Oh, that would have been. That would have been. Yeah. The Colony won with a vertical suplex high cross body combination. I thought that was pretty cool. What did I do with my phone? It was Selena Hecate against, this was the women's match, which,
she was at the World of Hurt show, too.
Selena was, I'll get it here.
Wasn't it Spike?
Spike, yes, but I want to get her name. Spike Nishimura. I wanted to get the last name, because I just didn't want to say Spike.
Yes.
And I met her at her table. I got a selfie with her. Incredibly nice.
And we handed out a lot of cards, people.
We did. We handed out a lot of our business cards, which was cool. They ran all over the building after Spike ran after her, and they went up on the stage that was in the building. All that stuff. Good stuff. Spike did a double axe handle off the stage on her, which I love a good old school double axe handle.
Yes.
You don't see enough of that these days. Excuse me. Spike won with a springboard drop kick, missile drop kick, which was really cool. I thought it was a really good match. As far as women's matches go, it was a full, good weekend of really quality women's matches, in my opinion. Really quality matches overall. And then the Danhausen tag match. Now,
yes!
I believe this should have been the main event. I think when they did intermission, they should have put the cage up and done the cage match first and sent the crowd. Well, Mullet Man was over with the crowd. But I don't think that was a main event match. In my opinion, you know, I've never seen these guys before, so maybe, you know, the crowd really loves them, and that was a good reason to put it on last. But I think the Danhausen match should have went last.
Do you still have your tooth?
I do. I'll take a picture of it because I want to take a picture of the stickers that I bought.
I think mine got lost in the Jeep somewhere.
Well, I'm sure I'll find it at some point. Danhausen cursed the same guy a couple of times, which was pretty funny.
Yes, and it was great.
The crowd loved the teeth. Like, Danhausen brought out a jar of teeth and used it like people use thumbtacks, shoved them in the guy's mouth and gave him a drop kick, and the teeth went everywhere. And the crowd grabbed teeth after the match was over. They loved it, and he handed me one. What was my line of the night? I can't believe I have a fucking tooth in my pocket. Just, you know, this is weird, you know. But they did a double pin with Preston, Mr. Elegant, or I can't remember his name. I'm sorry, Preston Douglas, I think. Maybe.
Yeah, I think it was.
They did a double pin, him and Danhausen for the win, so that was cool.
And the guy that kept getting cursed kept screaming through the whole fucking match.
Yeah, it was highly entertaining, you know. And Danhausen was really into it. The crowd really liked him. I mean, he got a huge pop when he came out, so that was really cool. Then they had the main event cage match, and I wrote, this cage was even sketchier than World of Hurt. It was, that's cute. Johnny Pierce, who is the World of Hurt champion.
That's what I thought of the cage.
Right.
Sketchy as shit.
Yeah, against the Mullet Man. Mullet Mania. He has shirts and stuff.
Oh my god, Mullet Power, and... then the whole, the Joe Hendry...
Yeah, he had like a Joe Hendry parody of his music and stuff. So whatever. I mean, it's creative, but it didn't do it for me. But thought it was an okay match. The heel tag team from the Danhausen match and Selena Hecate came out and they handcuffed Mullet Man to the cage, and Johnny Pierce was like attacking him and stuff. And there was a guy in a moose costume through the whole show, but this guy that came out of the costume wasn't in it the whole night.
No. It
was a huge dude. I have no idea who it is, because I've never seen the guy before. I've never seen this promotion before, but he was a huge dude, and he helped Mullet Man win. Mullet Man won with a splash off the top rope. He had been busted open at one point, so...
And we did think the guy was Fox Vineyard, but no.
No, he did look a lot like him,
yes,
but it definitely wasn't him. I thought it was great. A great way to end the weekend. I would like to go see Green Mountain Wrestling again. I thought it was very good.
Would love to.
Yeah, I'd like to see some of them again. I think it was a really good show. Let's see. I'm not going to be able to show the stickers and stuff. I'll definitely post a picture. But I bought a pin from the guys with the crab, the Nation of Crustacean or whatever. Danhausen pin for $10. I bought 2 of the Colony stickers, a Lost Boys sticker, 2 of Spike stickers, and they came with a button. It's just so cool with the stuff that they had there. It was a lot of fun. If I've said this before and I'll say it again, if you have a chance to go see an indie wrestling show, go and support the local people, because I think they do great jobs. And granted, they're not all awesome, but even on shows that I didn't like everything, I always found something that I really enjoyed, or a new talent that I really liked, and I think it's totally worth it. And for $15 to get general admission, and we ended up in the third row, totally worth it.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Should we talk about the front row with the suicide dive?
Oh, yeah. One guy got, the old guy in the front row got hit by a suicide dive. One of the tag team guys smacked a bottle of water and it hit that same guy. And one of the guys from Guapo Suave caught one of the Lost Boys, told the crowd to move.
And he had to say it multiple times.
Yep, and he just chucked the guy onto the chairs, which is kind of like the chair I'm sitting on now, one of the old school restaurant chairs that's a heavy-duty chair, and he just chucked him onto those chairs.
I'm sorry, but if a big guy tells you to fucking move, you fucking move.
Yeah, but it reminded me a lot of GCW or PWG, where the crowd was really, really close to the ring, and there wasn't a lot of margin for error on the dives and stuff. So it was really interesting. So Green Mountain Wrestling, definitely worth a try. We do plan on going back at some point. So I kind of want to sponsor one of their matches.
Yes.
Because before each match, like they read like an advertisement for one of the sponsors. I'd kind of like to do that for our show. I think that would be really cool. So, I mean, even if nobody pays attention, I think it would be fun to do. So, there's a lot of wrestling coming up. Like, they got Saturday night's main event coming up. Money in the Bank and When Worlds Collide, AAA and NXT's event is coming up. But I want to get into AEW Double or Nothing. It's happening on May 25th, which is this coming weekend. Just preview it. Do you know any of the matches that are happening, or haven't you been paying attention?
I haven't really been paying attention with AEW lately.
I've been kind of watching it out of habit. Now, there are things that I really do enjoy, but it's kind of getting to the point where it's mid-90s WWF where I'm just kind of watching it out of habit. And I hate to say that, but with Moxley and this Death Rider stuff, I have no interest in seeing any of that. I just don't.
End.
Yeah, so I'm hoping it ends very soon. But for Double or Nothing, they have the finals of the Men's Owen Hart Cup tournament. Adam Page versus Will Ospreay. I'm sure that'll be an awesome match. And then the Women's Owen Hart tournament final. Mercedes Moné against Jamie Hayter. As much as I like Jamie Hayter, I can't stand Mercedes Moné, so I doubt I'm going to really care about this match. I'll watch it, but I'm really not going to give a damn about the match, unfortunately. This one I'm interested in. The Hurt Syndicate against the Sons of Texas for the AEW titles. Now, if you don't know who the Sons of Texas are, they are the Ring of Honor Tag Champions. It's Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara. And Dustin Rhodes is also 1/3 of the Ring of Honor six-man tag titles with the Von Erich boys, so that's pretty cool. So I think that'll be good. I'm sure the Hurt Syndicate will win. That's my prediction. I mean, I can't see the Sons of Texas beating the Hurt Syndicate for the AEW tag titles. Not at this point, anyways. One that I think is going to be very interesting, the women's title, Timeless Toni Storm against Mina Shirakawa. There'll be a lot of entertainment in this match. Toni Storm's going to do weird, old movie stuff. Mina Shirakawa's going to shake her tits and just do weird stuff, which, whatever. I think it'll still be a good match. It's going to be interesting. This one kind of, it could be interesting, but FTR against Nigel McGuinness and Daniel Garcia. It'll be cool to see Nigel wrestle again because I really like, his stuff. If you've ever seen Nigel wrestle, Google him for Ring of Honor and when he was Desmond Wolfe in TNA.
Yes.
You put in a Desmond Wolfe versus Kurt Angle match from TNA, you're going to watch a hell of a match. Nigel McGuinness against Bryan Danielson in Ring of Honor, fucking tremendous. Just Nigel McGuinness against Eddie Kingston in Ring of Honor is really good as well, so...
So he finally got cleared and everything?
Oh yeah, he's wrestled a couple times since he got cleared. Yeah, he wrestled at Wembley Stadium and stuff. So that's really cool. And they're doing
I forgot, what was it that he had?
Hep C. But now they have a treatment where it completely clears your system of it and it's not detectable anymore. So
that's really good.
Right. So and then there's a stretcher match with Mark Briscoe and Ricochet. I haven't been followed it enough to know why it's Mark Briscoe and Ricochet, seeing as how Ricochet just wrestled Zach Gowen last week, And Mark Briscoe came out to help Zach Gowen at the end, but I don't see why that's leading to a stretcher match.
I really don't know.
But I'll watch it. I'll watch the pay-per-view.
I think it's funny that he tried to put him in a figure 4.
Yeah, that's funny. But, I mean, I don't know if they'll add anything leading up to it, but for a pay-per-view, it's not floating my boat, but I'll eventually watch it. Before we get into the Wrestling Classic, did you bring anything to show, or just pretty much what's on the table?
What's on the table and what you bought me.
Oh, okay. I mean, sorry, can't, wrestling buy. I mean, that's kind of like Jim Cornette's thank you, fuck you buy, you know, but...
Yeah.
I have some action figures that I bought. When I saw this, I had to order it.
Yes.
Rosie from, he was 3-minute warning, but this is when he was with the Hurricane. This, to me...
Superhero in training.
Well, this was when he was actually a superhero, but it does have the mask with him as that, and I'm guessing underneath this, it has the superhero in training, underneath it. This is really cool. This is why I love Mattel having the license, because they come up... I mean, this isn't obscure, but a lot of people wouldn't have thought of this, I think this is really, really cool. So I like that a lot.
Yeah, Roman Reigns' older brother.
Yeah, this Bret Hart, the WCW Bret Hart, which is this one, the only reason I bought this full series of action figures is to build Gorilla Monsoon. And Gorilla Monsoon will be on the table the next time we record, because I'm opening every single one of these.
Don't open this one. I'll give you the arms to...
Well, I want to open it because I want to display Bret Hart, but I appreciate that. But I want to open this anyways because I want this Bret Hart to go with my display of Bret Hart figures. So, and I know a lot of people hate it when people open up their action figures. Too fucking bad. I want to display them how I want to display them. I'm a collector, but I collect certain figures that I keep, in protectors. Like I have I'm sure I've shown it on the show before. When they did the Sandman recently, it was the Sandman box, but Trish Stratus is in it.
Yes.
And I know that it's not somebody that just took a figure out and put another figure in, because I was the one that opened the case because I was working the toy department that night, and I pulled it out of the case, and I took a picture of it inside the case and then pulling it out of the case. So I can verify that it actually was an actual... So I got a protector for that, and I'm going to hang that on the wall. But I'm picky about the ones that I keep in the case, and this is the one that I don't. You can display your action figures the way you want to. I don't play
like I did with this one?
Right, I don't play with them, but I like to display them, doing their poses or with the belts or whatever. You do you, and I'm going to do what I want to do. So that's all I'm saying. This one was also part of that series.
Ken Shamrock.
And I've also said to some people, what I want to do eventually is I want to get the biggest digital picture frame that I can, and I want to take the wrestlers that I've met and put them on a stand underneath that picture, around that picture frame of wrestlers that I've met, and then have those pictures up, like a slideshow on the picture frame.
Yes.
With all the, action figures of all the wrestlers I've met. I thought that would be a cool display. So I've met Ken Shamrock, so I'm going to do that.
I have too, but I haven't got my picture taken with him.
Right. This one I thought was really cool.
That is really cool.
One of 5,000 Jay White. So this is the one where, the Sting was in this one, and I bought that Sting as well.
And this one I was about ready to grab up for you, the Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, I don't really care for that one. I appreciated that you wanted to let me know about that one. This, I think, this DDP has the best face they've ever done on
Yes.
The 1997 Diamond Dallas Page.
Bang!
And this one has the head of Gorilla Monsoon in it, so I'm glad I finally found this one. So, and they only had one. I was going to ask you if you wanted one, but they only...
Yeah, I would have wanted one.
There's only been one per case as far as I'm seeing lately. So, I'll get a protector for the one of 5,000 Jay White, but the other ones are going to get opened. So, well, not the Rosie. I think I might get a protector for the Rosie, because I'm not sure if I'm going to open that one or not.
Actually, they still got a bunch of him at Target.
Yeah, I might do that, and then, because I would like to, I have a Hurricane figure, so it would be cool to kind of display those two together. Do you have anything else you want to talk about? Any gaming stuff or anything you want to...
Mostly still been playing Avatar, and I'm loving it. And I sent you videos of it.
Yeah, it does look really cool because it's open world and all that stuff. I think that's really cool. I haven't been playing anything lately. Really do need to break out the Xbox and start playing like WWE 2K25. And I've always told him that I've never played Grand Theft Auto 4 or Grand Theft Auto 5.
They're thinking about remastering Grand Theft Auto 4, and I'm hoping that they do because I want it on the newer system.
Right. I'd like to see a really, really, really updated Vice City and a GTA 3. I think that would be really cool.
Yes.
Don't change anything about the voices or the radio stations or anything of that.
Nope, just update it to today's graphics.
Exactly. That's all you would need to do. And the mechanics of it maybe a little bit, I think that would be perfect.
I mean, they did the mechanics right, but not the graphic-wise in the Definitive Edition.
Right, and I think you could do that with WWF No Mercy.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have to have the WWF logo. You could still do the regular scratch logo without the F. But you could upgrade that game. You could put everybody from the Attitude Era in that. You could keep the creator wrestler the same, but add more to it. Because the amount of space that you can put on these now, there is so much you could do with that game. It would be just... Even if you just took that game engine and put everybody in it from today and all the legends you put... Think of how many DLCs you could do for the No Mercy game engine. You could keep the same mechanics, all the taunts, all that stuff. It would be so amazing. You could keep the music the way it is. You know what I mean? You wouldn't even have to do the full music. You could do the video game style music. I think that would be so cool to do. And I don't know why they haven't done it yet with the computing power that they have now. But I would really love to see it.
If you want to make money, right there's the way to do it.
Well, think of, you could do a whole download pack where you just do every SmackDown, Here Comes the Pain, all that stuff. Digitally, it wouldn't take much to have those on there, you know what I mean? And, think about how, like, on Nintendo Switch, like, how many of those games they could put on one of those little things for the Switch. Like, the whole Sega collection that they had on the Switch. They had all three of the Grand Theft Auto games on that. You're telling me that you couldn't do that with all the SmackDowns or SmackDown versus Raw, all that stuff? Like, because it would be so cool. You
would make so much freaking money right there.
Right, or the GameCube, WrestleMania games from the GameCube, or the games from the Xbox. You could do full packs of those, and I think it would be awesome. So, last thing I want to get into. We are going to be at this event Saturday, June 14th, South End Community Center, 99 Marble Street, Springfield, Massachusetts. The Wrestling Classic 6, put on by Captain's Corner and Zombie Hideout. They added they added a few more names, but a couple of them were women. I don't know who they are, so I didn't write them down. But this one I did know. They added Angelina Love to the list, which is pretty cool, from TNA. But I'm going to run down the list. Headliners, Mick Foley and JBL. Awesome. Jacqueline, Ken Patera, Muhammad Hassan. How rare is that? Itsuki Yamazaki. She was one of the Jumping Bomb Angels in 1998, 1989 with the WWF. Steph DeLander, Isla Dawn, who just was released from WWE. The Blue Meanie, ECW original. Bull Buchanan, Gia Miller from TNA. Kid Cash. Val Venus, Cherry, who used to be with Deuce and Domino, and the Sinister Minister, also known as Father James Mitchell from TNA. That's an awesome lineup, in my opinion. Last year with like DDP and stuff was really cool too, but I think that's a sick lineup. Mick Foley's going to draw a crap load of people to that. JBL too.
We still got to make the thing for Mick Foley.
Yes, I was actually going to order those later today.
Good.
We are going to have a gift for Mick Foley at the show. We originally were going to do a jersey, but with where they're manufactured, I didn't know if it would come in time. But if we just do regular shirts, I know they'll be here in time. So that's what we're going to do. And what I decided, I don't think you'll disagree with me. The Cactus Jack style logo that we did. We'll make them up for you and I and him, but we will not sell that one out of respect to Mick Foley.
Absolutely.
So we did a parody kind of the Cactus Jack logo. We'll show it, but I don't think we should ever sell it. So he's got to go. But follow our social media at Cheap Hop Show. Thanks for checking us out. I don't know what, he's got some kind of phone call. He's very professional, but thank you for checking out Cheap Pops. Pop Guys out.